So let's get into it. We're going to be jumping right into this Loudoun story. Now this is really it's really depressing, honestly. Like when I found out about all of this, let me share this. This is so shout out to the Daily Wire because they have blown this up. Now it's behind a paywall, and I actually do pay for it, but I forgot. I couldn't. I was not 100%. I couldn't figure out how to get behind the paywall. So I actually have shout out to the Blaze because they kind of summed it up for us. So I'm just going to read this to you guys, and then we're going to discuss it because this is something we need to know about. Man arrested at Loudoun County school board meeting says officials covered up his daughter's rape. All right. Amid heated debate over controversial transgender affirming policies in Virginia's Loudoun County this summer, school officials concealed that a 9th grade girl was allegedly sexually assaulted by a gender fluid male student in a bathroom. I'm going to just mute that real quick. The Daily Wire's Luke Roziek reported the girl's father, Scott Smith, was arrested during a raucous June 22nd school board meeting that shut down public comment from incised parents who had come to protest critical race theory and proposed transgender policies. Smith was charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest after he had an argument with a woman for whose daughter Smith's wife had been a Girl Scout leader. Smith's arrest was captured on video and went viral, calling national attention to parent protests at school board meetings. The National School Board Association cited his arrest in a letter to the Biden administration requesting that the Department of Justice classify threats and intimidation from angry parents as domestic terrorism. And in fact, they did. This is something that I reported on last week. This is the Attorney General here, and they did exactly that. They essentially have declared any parent that is against critical race theory as a domestic terrorist. Now, this man had every right to go up against the school board because of his story. Speaking of which, telling his side of the story publicly for the first time, Smith told the Daily Wire that he had been provoked by the woman who said she did not believe his daughter, and by Loudoun County school officials who had covered up the alleged sexual assault. The Daily Wire reported that while juvenile court records are sealed, Smith's attorney, Elizabeth Lancaster, said a boy at Stonebridge High School was charged with 2 counts of forcible sodomy, 1 count of anal sodomy, and 1 count of forcible fellatio related to an incident on May 28th, when Smith says his 15-year-old daughter was attacked in a school bathroom. Smith says that the boy wore a skirt when he entered the girl's bathroom and allegedly attacked his daughter. After the alleged attack, the administration called Smith to come to the school and told him it would handle the incident in-house. When he began to make a scene, as any outraged parent would, he says the school called police officers on him, and it was only after he managed to avoid getting arrested that he convinced police to escort his daughter to the hospital to have a rape kit administered. A records request from the Daily Wire confirms that a report titled Offense, Forcible Sodomy, and Sexual Battery was filed matching the date and location of the alleged assault. Later that day, the school principal sent an email to the community informing them of an incident in the main office that required a police presence. There was no threat to safety of the student body, the principal wrote. He offered counseling services for any student who was upset by Smith's behavior, but made no mention of the alleged assault. Do you see what they do here? They make it so that you are more focused on the fact that this father didn't burn it down because his daughter got raped in the school, right? They make him the bad guy. Somehow he's the crazy one. I mean, can you imagine, all you fathers out there, what you would do in this man's case? He didn't get arrested, which means he actually kept his cool. He didn't go kill the dress-wearing rapist that was at the school. Sorry, continuing on, LCPS washed their hands of this, Smith told the Daily Wire, adding that the incident was only taken seriously because of the sheriff's office. A spokeswoman for Loudoun County Public Schools said any information related to student information is confidential under state and federal laws regarding student privacy. According to Smith's attorney, the suspect made self-incriminating statements during an interview with prosecutors, and a conviction is expected imminently, likely in the form of a plea deal to a charge of felony aggravated sexual battery. School officials never publicly acknowledged the incident, even as the district debated adopting policies that would permit transgender students to use bathrooms that match their self-declared gender identity. During the June school board meeting, school officials told parents minutes before Smith's arrest that concerns about transgender students in bathrooms or locker rooms were a red herring, and that there were no records of assaults occurring in bathrooms. They did not inform the public of the alleged assault against Smith's daughter, which was reported to police 3 weeks earlier. But I got to just stop right there, because even right there, they're saying in the previous line that those aren't allowed to be seen. You can't look at, because they're children. They're not public. So of course there isn't the red herring. There's no records, because you're not allowed to look at the records of this stuff taking place anyway. So who are you going to trust? A father who's been enraged by having to take his daughter, who I trust his dad. Okay, of course he's enraged. I can't believe he didn't get arrested. I don't know what I would do. Now, I'm not a father yet, but hold on, my headset's dying. Excuse me. I don't know. This really upsets me, because they're trying to cover it up. They're trying to pass these policies which affect everyone. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking from just my own brief experience in public school, even in Maryland, right? Yeah. There was a violent incident against me that happened, and I saw the administration at work. It was a lot of take me into a back room with the person that assaulted me and says, hey, listen, if your stories don't match up, we got zero tolerance. It's going to be a suspension for both of you. But if you want that suspension to go away or to get smaller, it could be a 10-day or it could be a 2-day, depending on if your stories match up. And then the administrator left the room. Basically, it was like, yeah, make your stories match up. Like, talk with the person that beat you up and come up with a story so you don't get suspended.
I'm sorry, and left you alone in a room together.
Yeah, that is correct.
How long ago was this? Just curious.
Oh, this was when I was in high school in 2005.
Wow.
2005. Dude, it's the same as Title IX, right? It's the same as these tribunals that these schools have that are totally extrajudicial. It's about sweeping it under the rug. It's
exactly
disgusting.
It is disgusting. I mean, you were beat up, and now this is the next level of disgusting. And this is the reason parents are not wanting this. They're taking all these leftists that want safe spaces, but then not the bathrooms. That doesn't exist in a bathroom. Like look, there's always going to be predators. Okay, always. Any human being has the potential to be a good person and has the potential to be a bad person. That has the potential to want to violate someone else's space for their own desires. All right. And that could be and any number of things. But in this specific example, his story is exactly why they don't want these policies in place. The women, like any girl, should have a safe place to go to. Look, hey, schools, if you want transgenders to have their own bathroom, do that. Okay. But saying anyone can, whatever you think you are, you can go to. Okay, so this rapist wore a skirt that day and said, I'm a woman, and then went and raped a girl in a bathroom. Oh, excuse me. Allegedly. But everything that they have said seems to point in the direction of that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, believe all women, man. They don't. They believe it when it's convenient. It's awful.
Until it's against someone that they don't want you looking at, like schools or Tara Reid, Joe Biden. Hey, Kamala, do you still believe Tara Reid? You said that you did last year. But now you're working with the man that you said was racist, that you were directly affected by it, and you believe all women, you believe Tara Reid. So what, you're cool with working with him? Right, because it's all about power for you. I don't want to get sidetracked talking about horrible Harris, because I could very easily do that. I want to continue reading this story. Smith stood there and listened as members of the school board lectured the public on how there was no issues involving transgender students, and that if a crime or violation of the rules were committed, that would be investigated and dealt with to the full extent of the rules or the law. Oh, well, can you imagine how that dad felt hearing that from the school board? Members of the public were permitted to speak, while many parents voiced their opposition to critical race theory and transgender policies. Other speakers who supported the transgender policies accused them of being hateful. One woman who attended, a left-wing activist named Jackie Schwerm, confronted Smith and his wife Jess, demanding to know which side they were on. Jess, a Girl Scout troop leader, had mentored Schwerm's daughter as part of her group. The Daily Wire reports that the confrontation between Smith and Schwerm, which led to Smith's arrest, unfolded as following. And this is, this is it. And they go off, and it ends with Jess crying out that my child was raped at school, and this is what happens. And that's really the key. I mean, are we supposed to just let it happen? Because they've already, in their own way, they've already said, hey, we're not allowed to even look at anything that does happen. And if it does happen, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. You're not allowed to know about it. And if it does happen to you, you're not allowed to talk about it, or else you're a domestic terrorist.
Man, here's some required watching for everyone out there. First episode of Chernobyl, the HBO special. The first episode of Chernobyl, a big explosion. It's constantly information's coming in that something terrible has just happened.
Yep.
Millions of people could die. Everything the authorities wanted to do in there was to keep it quiet.
Yep.
And they just couldn't. They just couldn't keep a lid on it.
That's a good point.
I made a tweet a little while ago, this whole supply chain crisis and everything that's happening right now, this is America's Chernobyl. They used to hide this stuff. This stuff used to happen. Yeah. Right? It used to be the captain of the football team or something like that was doing this kind of thing, right? And they would hide under the rug. Now the public faith in these institutions is gone to the point where a parent isn't going to say, okay, I'll keep it quiet because I don't want anyone to think badly of the school system. Now it's like the parents are like, burn it down.
Yeah.
And they should be. They should be.
School choice. We need it absolutely more now, more than ever before. But we're gonna get into the whole supply chain soon too. Let me just finish reading this here.
Oh yeah.
So during an interview with the Daily Wire, Schwerm made contradictory statements denying that she had an argument with Smith, an argument that was caught on video, and also made repeated comments about Smith's daughter's mental stability, of course, attacking the victim, an actual victim, mind you. She also repeatedly brought up that Smith was convicted of a crime and sentenced to 10 days in jail. The arrest and subsequent negative media coverage of Smith has taken an emotional toll on the family. Smith told the Daily Wire he had to install temporary fencing around his house to keep news reporters away. On social media, Smith was mocked for his physical appearance and demonized for his arrest. Buddha Bibaraj, Loudoun County's progressive top prosecutor, personally appeared in court to prosecute the case against Smith. The Daily Wire noted that Bibaraj was elected on a platform opposed to mass incarceration, but sought to put Smith in jail for misdemeanor charges. Meanwhile, the 15-year-old male suspect who allegedly attacked Smith's daughter has not yet been convicted and is accused of sexually assaulting another girl at a different school. I'm not joking. They moved him to a different school and he did it again.
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah, dude. Oh my goodness.
Again, he did the same thing. They quietly moved him to a different school to try to figure out the problem. They didn't suspend the two, that's what happened with you. They straight up moved him to a different school and he did it again.
This is a narco tyranny. It's where it's the anarchy for one side and tyranny for the other one. One side can do no wrong.
Yep.
And it's almost like the one side that can do no wrong is used to terrorize the other side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're right. If you're a Democrat, if you follow the narrative and you shill for the establishment. You're allowed to burn down the country. You're allowed to shoot people in your school if they bully you. You can rape people, and it's okay, because if you say anything about it, you're punching down. That's what they say.
Exactly.
No, we need to hold everyone accountable for any action that should be held accountable for. Period. I don't care who you are. That goes for Republicans, Democrats, centrists, libertarians, liberals. I don't care. If you do something illegal, if you cross someone else, you should be held accountable. Right? I don't care if you're a minority. I don't care if you're a person of color. It doesn't matter. Anyone. It doesn't matter if you're white or whatever. Like, because I guess white people are the only one who aren't people of color nowadays, or however they justify who is in their minority, marginalized groups.
They did that to Larry Elder, right? Like, that guy can be the face of white supremacy. The white is just a social construct at this point to these people, right? Like, I'm half Asian. That actually makes me more white for some reason, somehow. I don't understand. My grades are better and I get more privilege. I was like, yeah, I'm
Someone just said in chat, actually, voting will not stop this. And I'm inclined to agree. I've been constantly having conversations with people over the past couple weeks. And one thing that I always try to ask is, okay, what do we do? What do we do? Right? What is the answer to move forward? And Malcolm, we were having a conversation, Malcolm Flex, if you guys don't know who he is, shout out to Malcolm, very smart guy. We started talking about, we got to get into everything. Take over the school boards, take over local government. We got to build this base back, because right now, it does start with the individual. Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot, how, we have to be all accountable for ourselves. But once you get that base down, we can help others, right? These people on the left, they don't even care about themselves. All they're doing is projecting onto others and trying to force their ideology onto others and making these quick changes. But the problem is they have infiltrated everything already. Those people sitting on this school board telling this father that there's nothing wrong, nothing happened to his daughter, even though she got raped. Those are the people that don't care about you and I. They do not care at all.
All the sports ball big picture politics is there, I think, to distract you a little bit from what's going on locally. And locally is what happens. If you think about the schools, you have kids in there from K through 12, years 5 until they're 17, 18, right? That is, if I was an advertiser, if I was a cultural if I was trying to create culture, you've got kids for about 8 hours a day, fully captive 5 days a week for 13 years of their life. There's no way you could possibly, it is very difficult to reverse what happens in there. And I'm just thankful that the public school system is too incompetent to be actually properly brainwash people, because you still have that kind of culture in there.
I don't know if that's true anymore.
I don't know.
I feel like that might have been true.
Yeah.
Because like I was in high school. I was, you said you were in high school in 2005, right? So like,
correct.
We were almost in a different area. I graduated in 2002. That's when I graduated high school. So then growing up in the 90s, going into school through the 90s, like I felt like when people say make America great again, I think the 90s, that's what it feels like to me, the 90s, when anyone could make it. People were really working hard to be successful. And race even wasn't even a conversation. Like anyone could have been I mean, whatever. We, look at the greats. Eddie Murphy was amazing. He's still one of the best ones out there. I still think it's ridiculous, but
yeah, that was back when Chris Rock was based.
Right. Exactly. What happened to him?
Hollywood, man. Culture, man. It's the blob.
That's the blob.